Hey guys, and welcome back to the press box. It has been a second. I know I have been quite busy with a number of things, trying out new ideas here and there. But I am joined today. But I am back, and I'm joined today by my good friend James Brew Emisa. We are here to discuss a number of issues when it comes to the transfers, and also I have to just make you aware I was on his platform just a couple of days ago. So make sure to check that out. We're talking about Chelsea's transfer strategy this year, and it was an interesting discussion. And I hope you guys go and check it out. It was very good. I was going crazy about Chelsea's crazy strategy, but yeah. Anyways, Brew, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Leroy. It's a pleasure finally being on the press box.
Mm. And I have to admit, today what we are coming to discuss is quite an interesting thing because uh, it just doesn't honestly it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. We're going to talk about transfers, by the way. We're going to talk about the recent transfer news that happened last week. Um, One being Semenyo signing a 5-year deal with AFC Bournemouth, which was quite interesting because we knew Tottenham, Manchester United, Arsenal, some Saudi clubs, a lot of big clubs were looking to get him, but he decided to stay at Bournemouth. Then we had Nico Williams, who was having what's it called? Clubs, Barcelona, Arsenal, Bayern, so many clubs chasing after him. Then up and decides to sign a 10-year deal with his current club, that is Athletic Bilbao, with a release clause of over 100 million euros, meaning that if any club wants to sign Nico Williams for the next couple of years, they will need to pay that 100 mil clause. And lastly, something I would like to talk about is Kudus' current transfer situation. A number of clubs are looking at him. Saudi clubs, Tottenham, who look like the most likely to get him in terms of the Premier League, and then other clubs outside of England are also looking at him as well. But let's just start off with the Semenyo uh, transfer news, the contract extension. Was it a surprise to you? Did you think that did it make any sense to you? That was it something that you saw, James, that you were like, this makes sense. This is actually the best move for Semenyo rather than moving to a Manchester United, which is your club, by the way. Do you think that this is basically the wrong decision for him rather than staying at Bournemouth?
This might come as a shock to most people, but I think considering the options that were laid out, that was actually the best move for Samuel
Mm,
to stay at least one more season with Bournemouth and obviously sign the contract extension. So let me take it from a few different angles. Let me take it from Bournemouth's perspective first. Is settled in the squad. He's finally fought his way into being not just a first team starter, but one of the key players in the squad.
yeah.
He has obviously attracted a lot of eyeballs from outside the South Coast, which is why it was prudent for the club to lock him down for an extra season with a bigger, better contract. Meaning, if anyone should come and still bid for him, the club gains, the player gains.
Mm,
Because naturally, your wages have increased. You would ask for more from whichever buying club is coming, depending on the standing of the club. If the club happens to be a top six Champions League pedigree level club, then obviously you can really bank your hopes on your stock and go like, okay, I'm earning 75,000 a week at AFC Bournemouth. I'm going to take at least double that at, let's say, Tottenham. So Semenyo, being a 24-year-old as it stands, still has a lot of years ahead of him to continue building his stock, which is only going to make him look more attractive to potential buyers and thereby getting AFC Bournemouth more money for their efforts.
yeah.
So that is from the club's perspective. From the player's perspective, assuming he had joined Tottenham Hotspur or Manchester United, let me start with the English Premier League based clubs winging the non EPL teams. Tottenham finished 17th last season.
Yeah.
But they won the Europa League. So they are in the Champions League next season. The immediate appeal joining a club like Spurs is obviously the fact that he gets to rub shoulders with the best of the best in the UEFA Champions League. Will Semenyo start at Spurs?
I don't think so.
On face value, no, he's not going to start at Spurs because that right wing position / right forward position, and Spurs don't play a formation that will make him a right forward. So it means most likely right wing. He's going to contend with Dejan Kulusevski, who is more experienced. He's going to contend with Brennan Johnson, who is right now the darling boy of Spurs because he scored a goal that won the Europa League final.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he's going to compete with the young boys, the Mikey Moore, and any other wing forward who Tottenham might want to use. They've got Odobe. They've got Matthias Tell.
Yeah.
They still have Richarlison. Fine, Richarlison doesn't like the right wing, but he's still an option. They can decide to play Pedro Porro up front and play Shea Spencer right back. Right wing at Spurs, for lack of a better term, is murky for someone like Semenyo. So on face value, that was the absolute worst move he could have done. And of course, they could still bring in a Kudus Mohammed. If somebody is keeping you out of the national team, chances are he'll keep you out of the club team as well, assuming both Ghanaians had moved to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Let's look at Manchester United. Yes, right forward appeals to Semenyo, or right attacking midfielder. He can play both. This is a two-footed player. Would you really want to put all that pressure of being the man to change the fortunes of a giant that has fallen on hard times and finished 15th and lost the Europa League final? If it were me, no. Not as Antoine Semenyo. As a Brian Mbeumo, fine. Mbeumo being more of a goal threat and slightly older can probably manage the expectations better. Probably. I'm not saying Semenyo is not as good as Mbeumo. I'm just saying for what Man United right now expects from a new signing, that might be too much pressure for Antoine, who is still, let's be honest, trying to stabilize in the Premier League. He's been in the league for give or take 3 seasons, which is good. As it stands, I think he's the second longest serving Ghanaian in the league. So technically first because Jordan Ayew has been relegated. And then there's Kudus. So in terms of experience, probably Antoine, then Kudus at Premier League level.
Yeah.
You stay at Bournemouth one more season. If these clubs still want you, then you get to stamp your CV more, and then you go like, okay, fine. You had the chance to sign me instead of him. You signed him. He obviously it didn't work out. So now you're coming for me. I want to have assurances that I'm a guarantee starter at either Spurs or Man United. Assuming he had gone to Arsenal, let's be honest, there's no chance he started.
Yeah, Saka is the star boy.
And Ethan Nwaneri are both competing. Nwaneri has
honestly
a lack
speaking,
of
when it comes to Arsenal, Ethan is probably going to be Odegaard's backup. Semenyo would have been Saka's a rotation option, in my honest opinion. I think.
And I can't see myself as a rotation player if I was Antoine Semenyo when I'm older than the player. So no chance. If Madueke wants to go and do that at Arsenal, assuming he joins them from Chelsea, then that's fine for both London clubs. But for Semenyo to have made that move, no. Now let's look at outside Premier League options. Saudi, for instance, what would they bring to the table? Obviously, a lot of money. At this stage in his career, not a good move. For someone who has spent a lot of his footballing career in England, he would obviously want to try and make it in England. He's comfortable. His family is comfortable. So why would he move? If he's moving, then he's probably looking at a European giants that can give him the game time he needs, the wages he needs, and the platform to continue building. Because Semenyo is part of a squad, national team squad in this case, that has a chance of going to the World Cup next season.
Yeah.
Or at the end of this season. If Ghana makes it to the World Cup, it's in his best interest to be a starter, an effective starter at whatever club he plays for. What club will give him the best options?
Bournemouth, most
The club
likely.
he's already at, Bournemouth. So that's a no-brainer.
Well, when I look at the Semenyo situation, I think honestly, I like Bournemouth. Bournemouth is a team that it's my favorite. Let me say mid-table team. It's one of my favorite. I've been in love with Bournemouth since the Eddie Howe time when they were promoted to the Premier League. They've been a side that have been very good when it comes to recruitment and the style of play they have as well. And with Iriola at the helm, they've really built a very strong team that can beat the big boys. They did it. They did a lot of it last season, and I think with the right signings, which they've again proven that they know how to make the right signings, they can build a very strong team that could challenge for a European slot. And I think that's the what Semenyo is looking at right now. I think he believes that sure, Manchester United are in a rebuild situation right now. Tottenham Hotspurs are also in a rebuild situation right now. And if I join them, the likelihood of me qualifying for Europe is probably high because they have the money to bring in the big players to play alongside me for me to thrive and all of that. But again, you look at the two clubs in general, like Tottenham and Manchester United, their ownership has always been a problem. We cannot deny that their ownership is not a problem. Their ownership has always been a problem in terms of actually giving the players and their staff what they need to succeed and basically become the big names that they are supposed to be. Tottenham are always edging towards being the best or either being the worst. Like it's
There's no middle ground.
Yeah, it's been some way for it ever since Pochettino left. Let me be very honest. Ever since Pochettino left Tottenham has been on a sort of downward trend, I feel it's the ownership's problem. They brought in the big names. Even the big names said it. Look, there's a problem here, and it seems like the problem is from the top. It's not. I don't think it's the playing body. I don't think it's the coaching staff. I think the problem comes from the top. Same with Manchester United as well. Even though Manchester United still has money to spend, I think that the situation at the club makes me highly doubtful that there's going to be any kind of change this season. I have to be very honest. I like Ruben Amorim. I feel if Ruben Amorim is given the finances and support he needs to build his team, he will build a very strong team, and we could see Manchester United probably back in like 3 or so years. That is with good leadership. But with the Glazers and now Ineos, I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening in 3 years. I don't see it. I honestly am worried that next season is going to be far worse than this season because you look at Manchester United right now. Maybe Semenyo looked at Manchester United right now. They've been chasing Mbeumo. They started on fire with getting Cunha to sign, but now they've been chasing the Mbeumo deal since, and I don't see what
since Methuselah was a young man.
Pardon?
Since Methuselah was a young man.
Since Methuselah was a young man. I think they made one other signing, the left back, the young left back.
Diego Leon.
Yeah, which is all well and good. We all like a talented player coming in, but there are real problems at the club that needs to be solved. And you've decided that you are going to be one tracked on Mbeumo. who obviously you can see Brentford don't want to sell the player for less than what was the price?
Money.
What was the price
They,
then? Was it
they are currently on 65.
I think they said was it 70 or 80 mil?
Yeah,
I think
and the thing is, Brentford's logic is very simple. And on hindsight, if Man United had known this is how Brentford were going to act, they should have probably gone with Mbeumo first before Cunha. So Brentford's logic is very simple. Mbeumo scored more than Cunha.
Of course.
Cunha cost 62.5 million. How can you buy Mbeumo for less?
Mbeumo is the third highest goal scorer. Was it third or fourth? Fourth highest goal scorer last season. You want to get him for less than 60 mil? No, that doesn't
simple logic.
Yeah.
Simple logic. Unfortunately, it's hurting my club because Charlie, right now, every penny counts. But Ilanga joining Newcastle would actually give Man United the money they need to finalize that deal quickly and move on.
Yeah, and also I think if Bruno Fernandes hadn't rejected the Saudi move,
if Bruno had rejected, who would play? But that's another conversation for another time.
What?
If Bruno had accepted, who would play for United? But that's another conversation for another time.
So, but that was another thing. Manchester United is so focused on Mbeumo that it makes you wonder if they'd actually be able to do the deals that need to be done to help them get to the place where they need to be. And I'm sure Semenyo's team looked at it and were like, okay, we don't think that Manchester United is going to actually be able to build that team to get us from the 15th place to, let's say, maybe 6th place or maybe 5th place or the top 5 places. I don't think they are going to be able to do that. So why not just stay at Bournemouth, who finished, which place did Bournemouth finish? They finished in the top 10. Yeah. They finished in the top 10. So they finished in the top 10 with a couple of more signings, very good signings, because we have the money. With a couple of good signings, we could, and it's good and smart signings. Let me be very honest. Good and smart signings. We can take this side from the top 10 to maybe the top 5, or maybe top 6. Let's just be this and say top 6. Because look at what Nottingham Forest was able to do last season. Bournemouth could easily do it with the right amount of signings and with the coach they currently have. They could easily do it.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they looked at it and said, I think the best for us is to stay now, right? A year or two, we can continue to prove to the world that we are not a one-season wonder. We're a very good player, a very consistent player. So when they come, Bournemouth will be able to even to ask for more money, and the clubs will not be hesitant about the money Bournemouth is asking about. Sure, they'll still negotiate, but the fact of the matter is they won't be like, hey, 60 mil for Semenyo sounds like a bit much. If he's able to do it consistently, maybe in the next 2 or 3 years, when he's probably in like 27, 28, he'd probably be more around 80 or 70 mil around that time, because he's consistently proving that he is a Premier League star, and he's been able to help Bournemouth move from 10th to, let's say, challenging for the Champions League and challenging for Europe. It's good for Semenyo. So, anyways, let's just move away from Semenyo and let's come to Nico Williams, the only Ghanaian who doesn't play for Ghana that we are coming to talk about
in this discussion.
His situation is the one that I'm like, why the hell did you do this? You've basically put yourself in a box. You've basically signed your entire career at Bilbao, which I don't think he minds, because we can see the Williams brothers love Bilbao and Bilbao love the Williams brothers. So why not stay at a place where I know they will treat me like a king and I can be able to play the football I want to? I see, when I look at the Nico Williams situation, what I see is a player who believes that in the next couple of years, he's going to prove to the world that he is not just a world-class player, but probably a Ballon d'Or kind of player.
Contender.
Yeah, he could be a Ballon d'Or contender. And he believes in himself so much that he signed this deal, and he believes he's going to be able to prove that to the world, that 100 million release clause is going to seem like chicken change to the rest of the world. My problem is, I don't think so.
Okay.
That's me. I don't think it's ever going to happen. I think he is going to be a very good player, but I do not think any club is going to pay 100 million euros for him. That is my personal opinion. I think he's a very good player who is going to be a starter for Spain, a starter for Atletico Bilbao. But to say that a Barca is going to pay 100 mil for him, to say that Real Madrid is going to pay 100 mil for him, I feel it's going to be a stretch. Look at someone like a Gyökeres. He scored over 50 goals last season. Clubs are still like, nah, we want a reduced price. We don't want to go above 60 or 70 mil. I mean, he scored so much last season, but still. So for me, when I look at that, I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. You back yourself. And I think that's very good, because as a player, you should back yourself and know that you are good enough. But is he good enough? Is he going to be so good enough that price tag makes sense? Because I think Bayern came out to say that they probably won't go for him ever again. I heard I read a statement like that they will probably not go for him ever again. So I don't know what is going on there, but what was your take on the Nico Williams situation?
Okay, so first of all, is he world class right now? Yes, or at least in a few years, probably yes.
Close to world class.
Close to world class. Ballon d'Or contender, time will tell. Now, with regards to him signing the 10-year contract, let me take it from Bilbao's point of view, as like his relationship with the club and their fans. If I've known only one city my entire life, they adore me, and I saw how they were reacting when negotiations were going, as in the fans. I have a lot of redemption ahead of me. How best can I do it? I have to prove to them that I am there for them, and that my head was not turned away from the job at hand. Meaning, Nico Williams is going to have to go above and beyond to impress the fans quickly, win them back onto his side. The 10-year contract has done half of that. Now his levels on the pitch.
We could easily do that with a 5-year contract. 5-year contract. You could easily do that with
I'm 21. I'm 21. If I do a 5-year contract which will end in 2029 or 2030, I'm not done
26.
much.
You'll be 26 by then.
Yeah.
By that time, you are world class. We all know you are world class.
Yeah, but the fans might still see it as, okay, he's still trying to give himself an easy way out. Because 100 million on a 5-year contract, if I'm supposed to buy you out, it's not that difficult. 100 million on a 10-year contract, on face value, might seem easier because I'm spreading it out, assuming we are going the Chelsea route. We are spreading it out, but that doesn't work anymore. That loophole has been closed. So it means the person will have to pay ridiculous amounts of money, which will help Bilbao. Because look at it. Look, he's not going to be a one-off in terms of signing long contracts in Spain. And when it comes to club loyalty, who better for a Nico Williams to look at on the immediate side, Inaki Williams, on a long-term side, basically the entire Bilbao squad. And if we are looking at legends, Ike Munain. How many times do we grow up not hear that Munain is joining Real Madrid, Munain is joining Barca, Munain is joining Man United? Where did he retire? Retired at Bilbao. Where did he play his entire career? Bilbao.
Yeah.
That Basque club, that particular Basque club, rewards loyalty. So if you have no real reason to leave and the club is doing everything possible for you to thrive as a player, forget the Williams connection. There are many other connections he has built as a player. They were unlucky to have faced Man United in the semi-finals in the Europa League and played that badly at home. Bilbao were my favorites to win the competition. They were the ones I was fearing would prevent Man United from entering the Champions League, not Spurs. If Bilbao had faced Spurs in their semi-final, Bilbao would have been European cup winners right now because Spurs were lucky to survive Bodo Glimt. It's just so happened that Spurs had beaten Man United 3 times already in domestic football, so there was no way they were going to enter the final.
Both teams were terrible, so
yeah. So for Nico Williams, he hasn't done himself any harm. He's done the club a lot of good, and should anyone be willing to buy him based on his performances from now onwards to, like, let's say 2028 when the next Euros come, then that club has to be prepared to go for a world record fee.
Yeah, that is the problem. That's the problem with that's what I see about it. I'm like, I look at it and I'm like, he's basically saying I'm staying at Bilbao for the rest of my career. That's what.
But Bilbao knows how to still make money off deals like that because they did it to Chelsea with Kepa.
Yeah, Bilbao is a club that they know that they don't need to sell because because of the club's culture, they only sign Basque players. So for you to come to them and say, I want to buy your Basque player, but I want to pay just a minimum amount, they will never agree to. They won't even negotiate. They'll say there's a release clause. Pay the release clause, then you can get him. If you don't pay the release, he's not going anywhere. Because how many Basque players are there? I'm not trying to say that they are not a lot, but I'm trying to say that it's a very
for them they are not a lot, because if they were the only Basque club, then fine. True. But there's Real Sociedad, there's Deportivo Alaves.
Yeah,
that's the Spanish side of the Basque region. There's the French side of the Basque region
as well. Yeah. So it's, they don't need. I don't think Bilbao even negotiates. They just say pay the release clause and then you get the player.
Full stop.
Yeah, because I don't think they don't even care to negotiate. So that's
unless capacity. They know that they are
there was no way they were getting Kepa for less. Region. There was no way they were going to get Kepa for less than what is it called?
71.
Yeah. There was no way they were going to get him less than that amount. So that one, there was nothing they could do, and I feel bad for Kepa.
Yeah,
because that price tag, it's followed him all his life. Now he's been sold for 5 million to Arsenal. For 5 mil to Arsenal, from 71 mil to 5 mil. That is like 60, 65, 66. 66 million drop.
But then again, he's won trophies with the club he was at, which was Chelsea.
Yeah.
He has been to major international competitions as a result of the move he made. And it's been a while. It's been 5 years, 6 years since he made the 71 million pound.
Yeah, it's about 5 years.
So from the player's perspective, he hasn't lost. Yes, 5 mil is a slap in the face from where I was. Record fee for a goalkeeper and all that. But then again, I'm still comfortable.
Yeah.
If not for the fact that he's going to compete with somebody who is benching him in the national team.
Yeah.
he would have been looking at this as a good challenge.
Honestly, when it comes to the capacity, I'm actually surprised because he was doing quite well at Bournemouth. I was expecting him to stay at Bournemouth.
Bournemouth can't afford those wages for a goalkeeper.
Yeah, but you know, we've seen players who are willing to reduce their wages to play regular football. You get it? So, at Chelsea, at Arsenal too, I believe he's also lowered his wages to play second fiddle to what's his name? Raya.
Our second fiddle to Raya in the Champions League. I'm in London. Second fiddle to Travis at Bournemouth.
He's not second fiddle to go to. He's
They
starting.
were competing. Why would I want to reduce my wages to Bournemouth or for Bournemouth when I'm still not guaranteed to be the main keeper? If Bournemouth is coming for me, then Bournemouth should be able to give me what I want or very close to it, because that slashing of wages he would have slashed, though, Charlie, it would have been like 60% of what he was on
at Chelsea. Different lifestyle.
Chelsea for him to be comfortable, which
different lifestyle.
It's not happening.
Yeah, I get you. So I think that I don't even know why we've come to the capacity. We've moved from Nico Williams to Kepa.
Yeah, I mean, just for the normal sake of it.
Yeah, but
now I think we can focus on Kudus.
Yeah, we can move on to Kudus because Kudus 50 mil rejected by West Ham. Tottenham seem very, very keen. I think Tottenham wants is a 60 to 70 mil for Kudus. And if you're a Saudi club, which the Saudi club say they are interested in Kudus, he has a clause of 120 million euros that you have to pay to get Kudus. I don't think any of the Saudi clubs are going to pay that much, but they will definitely pay a lot to get Kudus. What do you think about the Kudus situation? Do you think he should stay? He should move to Tottenham, or he should probably stay West Ham for another season? Prove to the world that last season was nothing but a fluke because of terrible coaching by what is his name?
Moyes first. Moyes first, then Potter.
No, not Moyes. The former Spain national team coach who went to coach Real Madrid, then went to coach Wolves. I forgot his name.
Because it was that bad, but then again he beat United, so.
Yeah, but anyways, his style of football was bad, and he wanted Kudus to play on the left when obviously that is not where Kudus plays. And then Potter came in. Potter and also another system that doesn't necessarily fit Kudus's kind of play. But I feel like with preseason, he could probably sort of fit into that system. And I'm hoping that, honestly, my honest opinion is, I think he should stay at West Ham for another season to prove his doubters wrong. I don't think he should move to Tottenham. I don't think Tottenham is the right place for him right now because he will probably be rotation option, whereas in West Ham he's probably one of the stars of the team, and he needs regular football to further develop himself and become the player we all believe he is. But I don't know what you think. Do you think you should stay at West Ham, move to Tottenham or Saudi, or you think there's another club in England that you think will be the best place for him?
Okay, so the coach you are looking for was Lopetegui.
Lopetegui, yes.
Now, Lopetegui damaged Kudus. I'm not speaking from a Ghanaian perspective. I'm just speaking on the fact that he damaged Kudus in the sense that he did everything possible to make Paqueta comfortable in his preferred role. Which, let's be honest, if Kudus was supposed to shift from where he was, then that is also his preferred role, the attacking midfielder.
Yeah.
So if I'm Kudus moving from West Ham, if I need to move from West Ham, which position do I want to play at? Do I want to play as a midfielder on either flank, preferred right, less preferred left, or do I want to actually play in my ideal position, which is attacking midfield?
Yeah.
How many clubs in England, let's assume he wants to stay in England, how many clubs in England are looking for an attacking midfielder?
Arsenal is one.
Not a lot. Arsenal is one.
But not as a starter. No, he's not a
starter. So no. If I'm Kudus again, national team captain or thereabouts, if I'm moving in the World Cup year, I'm moving to start. And if I'm going to enhance my prospects in a World Cup year with a move, then the only logical thing I can do is move to a Champions League team. our Champions League teams looking at him, the only one assistance is Spurs. The only other club he could have joined if he wanted Champions League and England and have a realistic chance of starting is Newcastle, who have just bought Anthony Elanga in one of the positions he could have played in. Let's be honest, for a club like Newcastle, Elanga is a better option than Kudus. Elanga is fast, so if Newcastle needs to go on the break, they've got one. Elanga is versatile, so they don't always have to give the ball to Anthony Gordon or Barnes, depending on who is playing on the left wing, or straight away to Isak. The only advantages Kudus has over Elanga is he's more creative and can shoot from far.
And he's also very good. He's also a very good presser.
Yes, he's also a very good presser, and he's a set piece specialist. Newcastle, unfortunately, don't need a set piece specialist. And the way they press, yes, press is always an advantage to anyone. But if Isak is pressing, Gordon is pressing, Barnes is pressing, Murphy, who you have to displace, is pressing, Tonali is pressing, Guimaraes is pressing, Jolinton is pressing. Do we really need an extra presser?
Yeah.
Elanga trumps Kudus in this case for Newcastle. Now, for Spurs, the same thing I said about Semenyo's potential move to Spurs applies to Kudus. I have to displace Kulusevski. Difficult. I have to displace Brennan Johnson as well. Darling boy right now. Difficult. Kudus' advantage over Semenyo, apart from the fact that he benches him in the national team, if they had to choose one of them on that side, is that Kudus is also an attacking midfielder. Let's look at Spurs' midfield options. In terms of everybody in front of the DM, you've got Bentancur playing out of position, sort of, assuming you want to play Pape Matessa as your DM, then Bentancur becomes the box-to-box, which means Maddison. Would you displace Maddison right now?
No.
If everybody is fit?
Nah, I don't think so.
Also very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't displace your right midfielders and you come to Maddison and you are struggling to displace him there, then what was the essence of the move? So if you look at his options outside England, let's take, for instance, a club like Monaco, with the amount of shrewd signings they've made, Pogba, Ansu Fati, Minamino. A Kudus could make sense in that regard, assuming Monaco still has money to spend. They didn't qualify for Europe. All they are trying to do is to make sure that their club is in a better position to make sure that they can, first of all, qualify for the Champions League or Europe in general, and then, God willing, be a realistic contender to PSG. We all hope somebody is a realistic contender to PSG for the long haul.
Paris FC is there. They are coming strong. Louis Vuitton.
Paris FC is there, but give them like 2 years to really learn how League 1 works. Because you've been kings in smaller leagues for so long.
You have a new owner with a lot of money.
Oh yeah, and moved into a new stadium and everything.
So
European wise, there are not a lot of realistic options. You could argue Dortmund because they just sold Jamie Gittins. Yeah, definitely in the Champions League next season. But would Dortmund want Kudus?
And would Dortmund pay the 60 to 70 mil for Kudus?
That's another one. Would they be willing to pay? They might want, but would they be willing to pay? Knowing them, they are probably going to try and negotiate for a 25 million for Sancho and still beg United to pay some of his wages.
Sancho is going to Juve, don't worry.
Unless I see you holding the jersey, I'm worried. But yeah, so Kudus doesn't have that many places right now. Not in terms of he's not of quality. He's definitely of quality, but in terms of real options that will give him decent playing time, if not guaranteed starting playing time, and a Champions League platform. That being said, do I want him to stay at West Ham next season? If Paqueta is not available and he's going to play closer to his preferred position, yes. Otherwise, no. If he's supposed to stay in England, where should he go?
The only club that
If
looks
Spurs,
interested is Spurs.
if Spurs is the only interested option for him, then he should stay at West Ham. He shouldn't force a move. Next season, he will definitely get a Champions League worthy club if he keeps his levels up.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like clubs aren't interested in paying the amount that West Ham is looking at paying because of the season he had last season. I feel like Tottenham is probably like, okay, well, it's because Lopetegui and Potter's systems do not match with Kudus. They are basically playing him out of position or playing him in roles that do not suit him. But someone like Thomas Frank, his system will probably fit a player like Kudus.
It would. The system would actually, and that's something we didn't factor in to begin with. We're still judging Spurs based on the Postecoglou system.
No, but the Postecoglou system as well, he would have fitted into it. Honestly speaking, if I
he would have fit in it.
Yeah.
If he could have displaced Kulusevski/Johnson on that wing or Madison, he would have fit. There's a lot of ifs, but he would have fit that system better.
Yeah.
Thomas Frank is going to play a similar formation to what he was at Brentford.
Yeah,
which is still going to be something like a 4-3-4-1, 2-1. But very fast transition based 3-4-2-1.
Yeah.
As opposed to other clubs' versions of it. The two in the middle, definitely not Kudus's forte. But would be better off at it than Madison. You would expect more CM rather than AM in that regard.
Yeah.
But again,
I would see Madison probably in the CM role rather than in the attacking midfield role.
Yeah, but I don't think. Okay, so Madison for Thomas Frank's attacking midfield role, I don't think Madison is fast enough to do it.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying I give more of a CM DM rather than in that attacking midfield role. Yeah.
So let's assume they get Kudus. Kulusevski takes one of the roles.
I can see Kudus taking the other one.
You can see Kudus taking the other one over Brennan Johnson.
I know Brennan Johnson is there, but I can see Kudus taking that and Brennan being more of the rotation option in that system. No offense to Brennan. I think Brennan is very, very good, but I think Kudus just might have the edge on him in that kind of position.
But in that regard, that means Kudus is going to play on the left side of it, which is still the other side he prefers.
That's actually true. That's actually true, but he'd be operating more centrally.
So that is his plus.
Yeah.
And again, with the rotation that they can still get, him, Madison, and Kulusevski can all rotate there on the pitch.
Yeah. Yeah. So I can see that. Yeah.
Time will tell whether he should, but I think out of the options, if he really as a lucrative Champions League option with guaranteed play time, then he should stay at West Ham and give himself more of a platform for next season.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. But yeah, you've basically ruled out the Saudi deal.
Yeah, because it's not like he's playing for, and Ghanaians will probably come at me for saying this, but he's not playing for a powerhouse footballing nation that will frown on you going to play in the Middle East in a World Cup year. But seeing as he's one of the main captains and key players for the national team, it's in his best interest to have more visibility on him when he still has the play time so that he attracts better.
Now you mention it. Why would nobody can make that statement anymore because of what happened?
Because the Saudi league has improved. Ronaldo's statement.
But what happened in the Club World Cup, Manchester City being defeated by Al Hilal in the.
So Ronaldo's statement that he made a few years ago that looked like he was just blowing hot air at certain body parts.
Yeah,
it's looking like it's having more credibility.
Yeah.
I still won't put them as a top 5 global league,
Who the Saudi
but I'll
Pro
put them in top 8.
League?
Top 5 being the Premier League and La Liga taking your top 2. Your Bundesliga probably for me taking either third or fourth, with Serie A fifth. My third will be between, assuming there were real contenders, League A would have pushed
Honestly, the
the
standard of
Bundesliga third,
league.
then Liga would have been fourth.
Honestly,
But
speaking,
just based on if I needed a non-European league to be in my top 5 right now, I will still take the Mexican league or the Brazilian league based
I'll
on
probably pick the
outright
Brazilian league.
competitiveness.
I'd most likely pick the Brazilian league over the Mexican league, honestly.
There you go.
Because this
I know Mexico had the best reps.
I have to admit, this Club World Cup
the
has
best reps for the Club World Cup.
Yeah.
For this season's Club World Cup, because let's be honest, if you think about the best that Mexico has to offer, Club Leon, who qualified and were kicked out because of multi club ownership rules, are not the best reps. Monterrey, fine, but Chivas, Club America, no, these guys they come, and probably it means the league is changing, but that actually shows you the strength of the MX Liga.
But honestly speaking, this Club World Cup has basically shown to the world that Europe's claim to being the most dominant, let's say, continent when it comes
continental
to
body of federation,
it might actually be nothing but hot air, because the Brazilian teams were really just they were dominant. The Brazilian teams were dominant. The Saudi teams did incredibly well, and even though I'm very sure we'll still get a European champion at the Club World Cup, it's basically showing that the gap that they have created in our minds in terms of quality might actually be smaller than we imagine. I think the gap that we thought was like this might actually be like this.
Yeah.
So,
and that I never thought I'll have to say this, but that is a huge cap in the a huge feather in the cap of FIFA.
I don't want to give them credit because they obviously did
this club. Yeah, I know you wouldn't give them credit, but for FIFA to actually do this Club World Cup, for us to make this statement, because bear in mind, a lot of us were disappointed with the performances of the African clubs, not because we are African, but because based on the 4 clubs that qualified from CAF or for CAF, these were 4 of the strongest. So for us to leave the tournament without a rep in the knockout stages, it's a slap in the face, because let's be honest, on merit, these guys should have done better.
True.
Especially Esperance and El Ali.
Yeah.
But then again, maybe in the next edition will be better suited for us.
Yeah. Okay, fine. I'll give FIFA credits for letting us realize that the gap is smaller than they make it out to be. But still, we all know the reason they did this competition. It was not to let the world know that the leagues are closer or no. The reason they did it was the money, and I'm sure they are disappointed because of the what is it called? The
attendance.
Yeah. And that one too, it is also their fault. They charged a lot, and because they wanted I think it was because they want the European audience to watch it, they decided the timing will be when Americans usually are working. So why would they leave their jobs to come and watch a football match? It doesn't
that they don't know. Players that they don't know.
They'll do this when work is probably over and you're like, hey, I heard there's a football man. Let's go check this thing out. But you decided that nope, let's make it convenient for the European market, and now it's hurting you. So enjoy.
Well, to FIFA's credits, the next edition, depending on how they want to go about it, because there are 6 host nations for the next World Cup. If the next edition is going to be in one country, let's assume Morocco, it suits the wider audience that they are looking for. Probably not necessarily in terms of commercial value, but in terms of timing.
Maybe.
But that's something to ponder in a few years. So
Let's see what happens. I
yeah,
suspect they'll give it to somebody who gives them a. Okay, sorry. Let me not make such an allegation on my platform. But anyways, whoever has the best bid will most likely get it, and we look forward to seeing who bids the most. But I'm very sure the bids might be a little bit less than because of the attendance, honestly. But I'm sure FIFA will figure out a way to convince them. Maybe they'll use America's current climate and all that. I don't know. Anyway, so Kudus you still believe that Kudus should. So your opinion on this is probably Kudus stay in West Ham for another year, like mine. Just stay in West Ham for another season. Show the world that last season wasn't really your fault. It was the fault of terrible management from Lopetegui, and now getting used to the system of Graham Potter, and with the preseason with West Ham, you'll be able to figure out what is it called. But let's say a team like Aston Villa. Let's say Aston Villa comes calling. They have PSR issues, so it's most likely unlikely. But I'm just trying to say, let's say a team in the middle of the park that probably could use someone like Kudus, but not necessarily Aston Villa. Let's say I want a team that is in the middle of the road, but needs an attacker right now who that Kudus could fit and solve their issues for. The only one I can think of is Aston Villa. The others don't seem like a team that could really use someone in Kudus or would be good enough for Kudus in terms of, let's say, a progression. I think that Aston Villa could actually be good. Like you said, Newcastle would have also been a perfect place for him, but unfortunately, they've gone for Elanga, so it doesn't make sense for them to again go for Kudus. Liverpool would have been an interesting option, but again, they went for Vets. So that one too doesn't look like it's gonna happen. They've made that their decision. It's Vets, and they paid a lot of money for him. So I even wonder if Liverpool still has money. But looking outside,
Liverpool still has a lot of money.
Looking at
they have a lot of money because if they are still planning on selling Darwin Núñez, it means they have money to spend, not just from Núñez, but the fact that it means they would have to replace the number 9.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately, because of the tragic demise of Jota, if they wanted to fill that role, they have that as well. But they are still looking at selling Diaz, or rather Diaz is trying to force a move.
Yeah.
So Liverpool has money to spend.
But
you were thinking of other options for Kudus in the league.
No,
you mentioned Villa.
Yeah.
You mentioned Villa. Let me just throw 2 more.
Okay.
Crystal Palace, if they sell Eze.
Crystal Palace is good, but is it really an improvement over, like Aston Villa would probably be an improvement over a West Ham? There's more
of the three options. Of the 3 options I'm going to mention, which would be Aston Villa, Crystal Palace, and Brighton. Aston Villa on paper is the better club.
Yeah.
Standing wise, PSR wise, they might not afford Kudus right now.
I don't think so. No.
Unless, of course, they're willing to sell an Oli Watkins.
Yeah, but Arsenal has made their decision clear. They are going for Gyökeres. They're not going for.
Man United has not made this decision clear, but it's unlikely United will go for Watkins.
Yeah.
He doesn't fit their profile based on age.
And they are too obsessed with the Buemo deal that they've forgotten that they have other places to solve.
Yeah, don't worry, we'll get there sometime. Probably not this year, but we'll get there.
We'll see.
And then with regards to Brighton, Brighton is an attractive site for a lot of players.
A lot of young players.
Is Brighton a step up for Kudus from West Ham? Probably not. West Ham is still a more established club than Brighton.
Yeah.
Brighton finished higher than West Ham on average in the Premier League, but West Ham is more established than Brighton. Crystal Palace, European football for the first time, assuming the multi-club ownership thing works in their favor instead of Lyon.
Yeah, because Lyon has been relegated, I think it's probably work
But
in their favor.
that's where it gets tricky. That if Lyon keep their position, then it means they have to get their European place. So owner has to make a choice.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how
And
that plays out.
I think because Lyon got theirs through the priority.
I think Lyon will probably get the priority over Crystal Palace now, and yeah, I agree with that. So Crystal
If
Palace,
Kudus was to join as Eze's replacement at Crystal Palace in the league, that is an upgrade for him because of who Crystal Palace's coach is and how he plays.
yeah, and also it will be
The
a
only
very
problem is
Mhm.
the only problem is can that coach continue his progression?
I think he can. I think Glasner is
With
a
or without European football?
we'll see.
As in the pressure of European football, not necessarily the glamour.
Yeah, I know. I know. I think Glasner can. He needs reinforcements. That one is very, very clear. He needs more reinforcements in their squad. But I think the Crystal Palace team is a very, very good team. They have very good players. Adam Watson is one of them. Eze is one of them. They have very Mateta had an incredible season last season. So I think
Malansa.
yeah, Malansa, they have good players. I think that they need a bit more depth if they are going to be challenging for Europe. So I'm like, probably they might actually. I don't know if the club, because I don't know what the current state of the club is when it comes financially speaking, whether they can
They just told their
afford.
captain McGahey, so they have money.
Okay, well that's true, but it's another. Here's that's the thing. It's another position that needs to be what's it called, replaced. And you need to find a solid replacement.
Knowing them, they are probably going to shop at one of the relegated clubs.
So yeah, and I think that they are a good side, but it's the depth. If they don't have the depth, they are not going to be able to make it
Realistically, go for
and then
someone
they're going
like
to
him.
basically affect. It's going to basically affect their standing in the league as well. So
Yeah.
the thing is they have to get that depth in, and I don't know if Kudus will be willing to go to Crystal Palace after let's say West Ham. I think that Aston Villa makes sense, but too bad PSR. It's going to be interesting. I don't know. But I was thinking about like outside of let's say England. Let's go somewhere like Italy. Let's say somewhere like an Inter Milan or an AC
Okay.
Milan, who has
Let's try Italy. Italy with Italy. Okay, you said Inter, so I'll do Inter first, then I'll go to AC.
mm,
Inter with a new coach. Inter, we saw them at the
Club
Club
World
World
Cup.
Cup. Didn't pull any trees. You can't really identify the style they
Yeah,
want to go with.
yeah, but you can
So
say new
it's safe to
coach.
assume.
A couple of weeks with the side, he hasn't really implemented the system or ideas on the side. So I don't want to put too much blame on him or the team at this point, because I'm like, Charlie, it's just he just started the job. Let's give him the preseason and see. Just like how I decided to
And see.
forget about Amorim this season, because I said to myself, this season is not for Amorim. I thought Amorim should have started with United probably this window. Like they should have brought him in this around this time, so that
Yes.
he comes in fresh, sees the team, and then gets
Assesses it and
yeah,
builds.
yeah, and then builds. But
Yeah.
they decided to bring him in during the latter portion, which I think probably affected the standings of the team, because he had to work on the fly. So sometimes I look at him, I'm like, probably if Amorim had a preseason and was with the side from the start of the season to now, most likely Manchester United probably wouldn't have finished 15th in the league. But that's why I don't want to give too much headache on Chivu. I think I don't really know much about him. I've not really sat down to look at him and say, okay, this guy, this is what he does, this is what he doesn't do. I was actually quite disappointed when Inzaghi left. I thought he was an incredible manager, and I don't know. I've not looked into it, but I don't know why they decided. If you can tell me why they decided to let him go, doesn't make sense to me, honestly.
So with Inzaghi, I think it was basically down to he wanted a new challenge.
Yeah, a new
Money.
challenge in Saudi Arabia.
Money, new challenge.
Hmm.
Because let's be honest, his roots in Europe was locked.
Yeah.
You've gone to 2 Champions League finals and lost both. Not a lot of European teams will be looking at you.
Why not? A lot of European teams don't make it to the two UEFA Champions League finals. A lot
But
of
if I'm
them
going
don't.
for somebody who has been to a UEFA Champions League final, I want a winner.
Hmm.
Yes, you are winning the league. Good. If I'm going for someone with the profile of Inzaghi, I want a proven winner. It's the same reason why people are not going for Diego Simeone. If I want the big one, you still haven't proven that you've won the big one. You are a bridesmaid. You are never the bride.
Hmm. I get you. So, well, let's look away from Chivu and Inter situation. What do you think? Kudus at an Inter. I feel it could be an interesting proposition if you look at it.
Inter could work. Honestly speaking, either Milanese side would have worked.
Mm,
If Atalanta were to sell Ederson, Atalanta would also work.
yeah.
In fact,
So,
that would actually be.
And Napoli too, I look at and I'm like, yeah, that could also work for a Kudus. But then
Napoli could work. They need to sort out their preference of who they are buying, but Napoli could work. The finances shouldn't have even been an issue to begin with for them. But it looks like they are looking for a young winger first.
Well, so Charlie, I think that Kudus is a good player. I think that, but I feel the best option again is probably for him to stay. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, James, I think that's how we're going to wrap up this segment of the show. Thank you for joining me. Your socials, let everybody know. Let's just basically sign out.
Okay, so I'll go with the personal socials first. So my Facebook and my LinkedIn are James Emisa or James Brew Emisa. James Brew Emisa on Facebook, James Emisa on LinkedIn. The rest of my personal socials are JBrew3690. So JAYBREW3690. And if you want to catch me on the Brew Show can be found on Facebook, X, LinkedIn, Instagram, Threads, and YouTube as the Brew Show.
All right. So, like I said, we had an interesting conversation a couple of days ago about BlueCo and their transfer strategy. You can always check that out. See me there as well as I analyze Chelsea's transfer strategy, which I call scattergun. I like calling it a scattergun approach because they like to hoard all the youth instead of what I think they should be doing, which is building a core of a mixture of experience and youth. It seems like Chelsea is just youth throughout. So, anyways, check that out on the Brew Show as well. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Le Press Box or the Press Box, and I am out. Thanks.